Hello chess friends and welcome to Azarov Chess channel and welcome back to the Speed Chess Championship in 2024 that you can follow now on chess.com. Today we have really an interesting match, a really spectacular battle between Maxime Vachie-Lagrave and Hans-Moke Niemann. So you heard it right, Hans-Moke Niemann is back on a chess.com event, which is, as I mentioned before, for me, it's a great thing. I really love the fact that this whole drama with Hans Niemann, Magnus Carlsen, Hikaru Nakamura, chess.com is finally over. Hans-Moke Niemann can focus again on chess, and I think Hans-Moke Niemann is a very, very attractive player to watch because he always spices up the games. He loses, of course, many games. He wins, of course, many games, but his games are really never boring, and that's exactly what also I think a company like chess.com needs an attractive player who can, of course, attract viewers. So Hans-Moke Niemann has, I think, certain aura in order to attract people. So that's why I think it's very, very important to invite also Hans in the next couple of chess.com events. Although he's maybe not the favorite to win the whole thing, but Hans-Moke Niemann can always play a good game. And we're starting now with an epic gameplay by Maxime against Hans in a great anti-martial of the closed Rui Lopez. And as I'm recording this video, the result is +1 for Maxime Vachie-Lagrave, so the match is still going on, but I've sorted out this game, what was in my opinion so far the best game from the event. So let's see now what happened with the white pieces. Maxime opened with the move e4. Hans' response was e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5. The Rui Lopez, the Spanish game, is on the board. We have now a6 Murphy defense, bishop to a4, knight to f6, and after kingside castling and bishop to e7, we have reached now the close to Rui Lopez. We have rook to e1, protecting now the pawn on e4. We have a b5, bishop to b3, castling in now a4, the so-called anti-martial system, not allowing, of course, some dangerous stuff here by black with the aggressive method with the move d5. We have a bishop to b7. Hans connects now the bishop to the rook because the rook so far in this position was disconnected from the defense of the queen. So that's why if something clears on the a file, still a queen to a8 or bishop to a8 is a possibility. d3. Maxime keeps now a healthy structure in the center of the board. d6. Hans does the same. Also has a nice grip here on dark squares. We have a knight from b to d2. A standard idea of the Rui Lopez, trying of course to reroute the knight on a more active square, knight to f1, knight to g3, or maybe later if possible also to place it on f5. We have knight to a5 hitting the bishop. Maxime retreats and now c5, also standard idea for black. Black is trying then to have a nice grip here around the square, d4 with the knight, and of course also with the both of these pawns on c5 and on e5. Knight to f1. Now Maxime goes for this maneuver, b4 by Hans-Moke Niemann, trying of course to get the space advantage on the queen side. And also what we have to mention, the pawn structure is a little bit static now on this side of the board on the queen side, so nothing dangerous can happen there. Hans-Moke Niemann has a nice grip, has also maybe the opportunity to later push the pawn on b3. So that's why bishop to d2, a good move by Maxime, which is not allowing immediately this b3 stuff because then bishop to a5 will immediately happen. You have to react because your queen is hanging, then with bishop to b3 you lost the pawn. If Maxime would not have played this move bishop to d2, maybe bishop to e3 instead of this, then I think b3 is even a possibility because then you mess up the structure. This one is weak, maybe you can make progress through the b file. So bishop to d2, very, very important move here by Maxime. Great stuff so far. Bishop to c8, again an interesting choice by Hans-Moke Niemann, retreating with the bishop here to the starting square, but in order to compete against this bishop on a2 and still trying to make this progress with the move b4. And now there in chess history many things have been played. Bishop to e6 was many times the continuation, also knight to c4 in one game by Imad Haki against Ali Ghazi Mahavi. Here Maxime played so far a theoretical novelty, a move that has not been played so far in chess history, which gives here I think black now finally great chances. I'm not saying this is a mistake or something that Maxime played, but I think this move allows here the final goal that that Hans-Moke Niemann tried to do is now allowing here black to have this really great space advantage on this third rank, is of course forcing now a retreatment of the bishop to b1. And notice now when the bishop is on b1, there is now also the lack of the connection between the queen and this rook. So the rook on a1 is now disconnected from both of these pieces, also by is also disconnected from the rook on e1, which gives here Hans-Moke Niemann in some lines, in some tactical shots, maybe to finally somehow challenge here Maxime on the first rank, because there are now some back rank problems for white. Of course not immediately, but when the game opens up, this rook on a1 is really a thing that bothers now, I think, Maxime in the next couple of moves. We have now queen to c7. You see Hans finishes now the whole development, has now the rook connection, which is a very important stage. You see now in the next couple of moves also why. We have now the move d4, which is of course the main idea now for white to open the position somehow. c4 by Hans. He supports now the space advantage that he created finally on this side of the board. We have knight to f5. Here Maxime goes now for the bishop on e7, and here Hans plays, I think, a good reaction. He plays now the move rook to d8. He doesn't want to actually give up his good bishop here for this knight on f5. He actually is waiting here, Maxime, maybe to take the bishop on e7, because this bishop is not so well placed anyway. It's only blocked out by its own pawn. So that's why Maxime keeps now the knight on f5, doesn't want to take out the bishop immediately, plays now queen to e2. Notice again that that white is lacking in now again a rook connection on the first rank. We have now rook from f to e8, placing the rook where already the queen is. If something clears, of course, then the queen could be endangered on e2. We have now knight takes e7. Finally, Maxime gives up now his powerful knight against maybe not such a well-placed piece by Hans, this bishop on e7, and now Hans plays a very tricky move. He plays now the move queen to e7. Great calculations actually by Hans, because it seems so in the beginning that d takes e5 wins a pawn, but that's a dirty trap that Hans prepared here. And this game is a 5+1 game, so 5 minutes on the clock plus 1 second increment per move, and Hans played now an awesome tactical sequence. After d takes e5, and knight takes e5, here Hans is actually not losing a pawn. Hans is getting here a beautiful piece activity with a stunning knight to bishop to g4. This is the way to go, attacking now the queen. The queen is now a little bit overloaded to the defense of the bishop on d2. In order to stay in the game, you have to play knight to g4, because your also knight is hanging on e5. So that's why knight takes g4 is a must move. We have knight takes g4, queen takes g4, and now rook takes d2. Although Hans lost a pawn in this tactical sequence, actually black gains here a huge piece activity. Now this one is weak. Again, the lack of rook connection is present here for white. There's always maybe a possible back rank checkmate if white, of course, doesn't play the game correctly. So huge tactical problems, I think, now for Maxime Vachie-Lagrave. That's why he plays now the move e5. At least something, at least getting the bishop into the game. And now Hans is maybe finally playing his first tiny little inaccuracy in the game. He plays now the move queen to c5, which gives here again white equal chances to win the game. A better choice was simply to pick up the pawn, why not, or maybe even to play the solid g6. This is also a good move here for black. I think rook takes b2 is pretty fine. You can immediately go also then afterwards for the c3 pawn. When you maybe grab both of these pawns, then it could be very dangerous. But queen to c5, a little bit inaccurate move, because here Maxime had a beautiful opportunity to play the move queen to f4, and maybe after something like rook takes b2, then you have this stunner. Look at this e6. Unfortunately for Maxime Vachie-Lagrave, he missed this move, because after f takes e6 you have this one, rook to e5. Now the queen has to step back here, and now you pick up this one. Now there is a back rank problem again here for white. White needs now to sacrifice the bishop, and after king to h7 and rook to h5, still it's an equal game, but I think also now finally white has great attacking chances. Black would have also something to worry about here with the king on h7. But instead of this move queen to f4, Maxime played now a bad queen to h4. He's trying to now deliver checkmate, and now Hans plays g6, queen to f4 now by Maxime with the threat, as we saw, e6, rook to e5 or something. But now it's not working because here Hans played now the stunning queen takes e5, and in this position Maxime Vachie-Lagrave resigned. So of course you cannot take, but you just prolong the game. There's simply no good square for the rook if you pick it up. Then, as I said, the back rank problem is something that bothers white now, and as I said, after queen to e5 in this position, Maxime fairly resigned. So nothing is over as I'm recording this video. As I started to record this video, the result was 4.5 points for Maxime and 3.5 points for Hans Moke and Niemann. So still nothing is over. You will see many winning games probably by Hans, also probably by Maxime. Nothing is over. We'll see how we'll now move up to the quarterfinal of the Speed Chess Championship in 2024. Okay, and I hope that you enjoyed this game. Interesting game by Hans here for sure, with the black pieces beating MVL, who played now awesome tournaments in the last couple of weeks, won many events. Great tactician Maxime is, but you see Hans is a great player who can battle it out. So it will be a tense match between the two of them for sure. So okay, if you want to see some other games that we have covered from this event, check out our Speed Chess Championship coverage with many games that we have analyzed. Here are some links of the games that we have analyzed before. And if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.